Okay everyone, welcome back to another ACR time trial event, the Actrollvision weekly time trial event. This week takes place at Sakitto, the fake Suzuka as I like to call it. Although it's a nice track, it does bug me that it's not the real Suzuka still on this game, but it's still an enjoyable track that you can fling the car around. It misses out the hairpin, which I think really changes the dynamic of the track, and I kind of like that hairpin because you're coming from such a strong speed. There's not really any slow corners in this version of this track, but still an enjoyable track to really push the limits through the corners and get the rhythm going. It's still got some characteristics of obviously Suzuka's, but it feels a little bit different. It's there where you split off. Normally on Suzuka you'd carry on and you'd go up towards a tight hairpin, but that's a fast corner that you take flat out pretty much in GT3 cars, and then you come into the long sweeping left-hander, which is fairly similar to Suzuka on the real track. But this car, the Nissan GTR GT3, really fun car to drive. I'm actually finding this car a really balanced car. It might not be the fastest GT3 in its class, but I am finding it quite an enjoyable car to drive, and I hope you guys enjoy this for this week's time trial event. You can really feel that I have put a reasonably good setup on this car. I feel I've gone for maximum downforce, and you can really attack the corners. It's got a lot of front end grip, and you can really start feeling that rear working, and stiffen the rear up obviously to cope with the extra downforce. And it's an enjoyable car to drive. So let me just show you now. I'm going to show you the lap at full speed, and then we'll come back and we'll slow it all down and go through a little track guide for yourselves to see if you can get the most out of it yourself. There, the lap was a reasonably tidy lap. There was a little error in a couple of corners. We're going to point that out. Mainly T1, we lost about a tenth or two on the exit. I had to go completely in the mirror on a few other laps, so there's a lot of time to be gained on the first corner. I'll show you now where. So obviously going through to the first corner, we're going to look out for the 50 board on the left. We're going to lift and just trail brake all the way from this corner, from that point pretty much. You're going to see now, just lifting just before the 50, trail braking into the corner take, try and skim the curb on the right hand side, and just let the car glide through the corner. We run a little bit out to the full width of the track, but we just got a little touch of understeer there where we carried a bit too much speed. We managed to get on the power reasonably early, but we lost a little fraction of time as we didn't get on the power fully there, but it was probably about a tenth I'd say. Then going through to his right hander, take it flat out in fourth gear, and then a brief little lift down to third gear and get the car over, really attack over on that left hand side. The car stays really balanced, and then you see there we didn't really get the car over to the left far enough. We should have really tried to attack it from more of a wide angle, but we managed to hold an inside line fairly well. The rear just working away there, you can see it nearly stepping out, but we managed to hold it in third gear then, staying again nice and tight to this corner, and then we get on the power and really work our way up the corner. It's best to take a tight line rather than running out to the full width of the track. You'll find the rear becomes more unstable the further wide you go. And then down into fifth gear, and then back down to fourth gear for the really fast right hander, clicking that cone if you can, pretty much, staying in fourth gear, then down to third gear, and then you can see attack this curb, and then just be careful on the throttle, feed that throttle in slowly or the back end can step out, and then into fourth gear as we work our way around this flat out left hand. And again, really stay to the left hand side of this corner, don't let the car run out wide or you'll run off wide as well. So no lifting at all on that corner, just flat out all the way up to the really tricky left hand corner. You've got to take this in. I did it in third gear, down to fourth gear, then into third gear, take an early entry, just get it to the curb, keep left hand side to the curb, and then just wait before you put a bit of power down, then squeeze the power, and then just a lift again, and then trail brake very briefly before just letting it roll into this left hander, and then on the power, and just try and get as good an exit from this corner as possible. It's really important. You can see there we pushed the limits and nearly lost control, but we got a reasonably good exit. It's really key to get a good exit on that corner, because you then maximum power all the way from up to the top of this hill now, and there's a lot of time to regain if you get that corner right. Now this left hander, you're going to just down into fifth gear and really throw it in. Don't lift, just throw it in and keep your foot completely down on that accelerator there, just about skimming the curb on the right hand side. Then get the car back over to the left hand side so you can attack the flat out right hander in fifth gear. No lift, just let's see it, we just briefly lift because we got a little bit of understeer, but you can take that flat out. Then into sixth gear, we go over the line on a 1 minute 41.1, and there is more in this track. I think definitely if we would have carried on pushing it, we could have got this down to a 40.4, 40.5, something like that at least. An enjoyable track. Anyway, let's go through to the setup. We made a few changes, obviously lowering some of the tyre pressures. We had the brake ducts lowered and the aero maxed out. You can see there I went for a max front aero and a max rear aero. It just seems to be beneficial in this game, a little bit more aero, I'm starting to realise now. The old game didn't tend to benefit that so much, but this game definitely does seem to benefit more aero. So, and then going through to the toe angle, I think the default was -0.1, but we were using a different set and we went back to -0.1. We also increased the stiffness on the rear suspension on the obviously because we had run maximum downforce. With the more downforce on that rear, you want to increase the rear stiffness to cope with that extra bit of downforce. We also increased the front anti-roll bars because there is a few bumps on this track, just to settle it down. We took away a bump stop again. I am preferring to get rid of some of that bump stop. We've not got it down to 10. It was on 25 as default. Didn't make any other real changes in the dampers, as we loaded up the stable setup as a default and worked it from there. I'm finding the stable setups are definitely the setups that are best to work it out from, getting your setup right. And you see there vents opening, and you can probably run that on 0%, but I just put it on 5% just to make sure. Engine braking 4. I did have it on 3, but it was kicking the rear out a little bit, so we put it to 4 and it feels a little bit more stable. The coast on 25. If you want a little bit more of a rear to be, aggressive in the corners, maybe put that to 30, but it just be a way it might kick the rear out slightly. And the power ramp, again, you can go down to 60 or 55, but again, when you're putting your foot flat down, it can just cause the rear to step out a little bit. So just take that on board when you're making some changes. If you want to make any changes to the setup I use, or if you want to use the setup I've done, that's up to you. I found the setup actually fairly stable and easy to set the time. I mean, I've never really bothered with this track on the old game. I didn't really, because it's not the real Suzuka, it put me off it a bit. And this is probably the first actual real full lap I've done at the track. We went on it, I think we spent maybe about 40 minutes on the track, 45 minutes. So there is a lot of time to come off this. I think you'll find that the top drivers are probably going to be able to get down to a very low 40. I think I could have got down to a 40.3 or 4 if I would have carried on pushing, but I was reasonably happy with the lap. There was a few errors as you've seen, but there is definitely time to keep pushing this, and it'd be interesting to see how far people can push it. It must be a reasonable lap, because I checked the other cars on leaderboards and it's pretty close to the other cars. I think there was another car on the 40.6, the M6, but it's definitely a reasonable lap. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's time trial. Make sure you follow the links in the description to take part. Thanks again everyone for watching.